Hello everybody, today I have the pleasure to propose to you this new key 38 and 18 regarding our session of practice entitled Creativity. Let's start. We're gonna define what is creativity. Secondly, we will try to explain the scope, the reason for being, then some techniques, and then we will finish by giving some tips and advice. Well, what is creativity? Well, concretely, everybody has his own definition. Here is mine. It could be different ones. There is many variation and so on. Concretely, as my concern, I think creativity is the interaction with your sensitivity, the personal sensitivity, with the present moments, establishing some links with our reality, enlarging our sphere of consciousness and our field of perception. This is my, let's say, philosophy, or let's say definition. Well, what is concretely creativity? Why it's so important? This is what we're gonna try to define. So, if I had to resume by one word, creativity is linked to innovation. Concretely, it is two things. Is the fact to discover some novelties first, and secondly is to find problems. Finding problems, problem solving, and so on, to find some solution is a part of creativity. Okay, why I'm precising that? Because most of people think that creativity is basically just designing, to be an architect, and so on. It's not this. Finding some solutions for a scientist, for a manager, for a teacher, and so on. Everything is linked to creativity, and this is also problem solving. So this is concretely innovation, innovates, okay? Then there is two types of creativity. There is two ways, okay? The first one is to download. The second one is kind of assembling. Let's explain a little bit. Downloading. It is really the pure creativity, and it's very rare. It's like 5% of the all creativities. Okay, so concretely is you download. Literally is the same thing that Eureka, I found it, you know, from Newton or the Archimedes and so on. Concretely, this is the fact to find literally something from scratch. Okay, so a new theory, completely a new discovery. Okay, so Newton, when he find the notion of gravity, it's just thanks to a kind of synchronicity, and it's interesting because concretely is the moment he see the apple falling down. Okay, at this moment he has his, let's say, a revelation in a certain extent. Why? Because he was working hard on a certain topic, and he just opened up his mind, and then literally the universe, like a synchronicity, gave him the, let's say, like the drop, you know, allowing to, like a drop of milk, allowing to go to something different. Okay, so this is literally downloading, and downloading is interesting because as Plato, the Greek philosopher, is talking about that we call the Plato's world of ideas. Concretely, he is talking like, as a metaphor of a kind of clouds, okay, the clouds of ideas for which we download. Okay, so concretely, if we have a different approach, not philosophical approach, but from the psychoanalysis, from Jung and Freud, okay, you have your consciousness, okay, your mind, literally, and then you have your unconsciousness, okay, which is kind of GPS. This is your kind of higher self, okay, thinking about breathing when you sleep and so on, okay, and then there is the let's say the collective unconsciousness. Okay, so this is belonging to mankind. Okay, this is belonging to something higher than yourself. Okay, it is the world heritage and so on, and this is the cloud we have access. Okay, we can compare that to the cloud, to internets, and we can consider that your unconsciousness, okay, the unconscious part of your mind of your brain, is your Wi-Fi, okay? The link toward that from which you download. You download a movie, you download the music, you download from the cloud, right? It's the same principle. This is exactly also what the Hindu called Akasha, okay? Akashic record is that. It's a kind of cloud, I insist heavily, okay, for you to understand the principle, and you download it, okay? That's the point. The second one is assembling. Assembling, what does it mean? I give you an example and then I will explain. You don't create from scratch. You use some existing things, but with a certain improvement. The example of the DJ, okay, DJ is, okay, what does he do? Concretely, he mix some different sounds. So he has a beat, or repetitive one, a beat, okay? It's like his basic tone, okay? Yes, that's. And then he will use, for instance, an existing music, for example, techno, like or lounge, I don't know, something like he has, is existing. He didn't create it, but he just take it. And he will add, for instance, tango, okay, traditional Argentine music, and it creates electro tango, that I love, by the way. But it can be, I don't know, traditional Indian music plus lounge music, or can be anything, right? But so he mix, or he can mix popular music with other things, classical music with rock and so on. So he mix, and the fact to mix like this, he creates something new, different. It doesn't exist before, okay? So this is literally this. It is like also another example, is like creating a new recipe. The ingredients exist already on earth. Or you take an inspiration from a recipe, a cuisine, and then you mix. Fusion is that, okay? Fusion or Ecuadorian Japanese food, I mean cuisine as a fusion is just a mix of both, okay? So tomorrow we will maybe create, I don't know, Italian, like Tex-Mex, Italian, Indian, I don't know. It could create something new, okay? So this is literally that. So basically 95% of the creativity is like this. It's just assembly. It's just like 2.0, 3.0, 3.2.1 and so on. It's just an improvement of something existing, added value to something existing, okay? So obviously it is a good observation of what is working well and so on, how it could improve and so on. Another point I wanted to precise in this definition, in a certain extent, of creativity is the fact, the preconceived idea, stating that it is built in. Okay, you have it, you have not. Okay, you were born with it, creativity or not. This is true and untrue. Okay, so it's true. Okay, some people are more creative than other people. You know, it's like flexible. When I was young, I was kid, I was really flexible. I could do, okay, that's, okay, naturally. I didn't do anything for that. Some kids are, some kids are not, okay? But if you're very rigid and so on, if you exercise, if you train yourself for a certain period regularly and so on, after 1 year and so on, you will be able, okay? So creativity is the same. You're not creative, you are not born creative. You can train yourself, you can, let's say, launch a process to become creative, okay? I'm not good at painting, designing, drawing, and so on. I'm pretty sure that if I had some course, I would not be a great artist in the future, but at least I could improve myself, okay? So this is important to take into account this aspect. Well, actually, what we're going to see together is just a small sample. It's just an insight. It's just an overview, okay? Because this is a course I gave for a few years here in the orphanage of Bali, Inter Alias, because I gave also for a fashion school, business school, and so on. But concretely, this is unless. And the course I give here is completely a la carte. What does it mean? It means that we are evolving. We are creating this course together with the kids, with the students, Okay, so it means that this is evolving all the time. So there's many things: creativity, basic. So thereby there is meditation, there is theater, there is personal development, there is career, there is many things evolving according to the demands. So basically, this is what I like to say: the teacher and the students are making together the teaching. Okay, and this is literally that we are building, we are creating all the time. So I resume this course, because same is resuming in a course online, which is roughly 10 hours. And so it's not free, so I don't want you to think it is for indirect advertising. It's not at all, because I wrote a book which is for free. You can download it. There will be probably an audio book in the future for free, once again. And so the book on my website, www.aurelienmilo.com. I will give the reference in the in the headings of this video. You can download for free, and this is like the equivalent of 10 hours. There is 120 different exercises for stimulating the creativity. Why is so important? Now let's talk about the reason for being of creativity. Creativity for me is essential. First, to be happy, to inject some colors in the black and white life. Okay, this book is just crazy. I could not be creative to write a book. If you read my other books, this is different ways. There is stories, there is characters, and so on. This one is just free flow, is freestyle. There is no structure. I mean, it's not that there is no structure. There is a syllabus and so on, but there is no. It's not comparable to anything else. I mean, I wanted really to be myself and not to be inserted in a certain cell. Okay, it's the same principle with the new school, the revolutionary, evolutionary school we are establishing here in Bali, but online in the future, is the same principle. Okay, it shouldn't be square; it is open. So basically, just to tell you that for me, this is extremely important. Education is the foundation. Is the foundation of the new era, the new society. Okay, and creativity is the cement. Okay, in 2030. 70% of the jobs don't exist yet. What does it mean? It means we are invited to create them. Okay, and it's, I mean, very exciting, because it means that the new world, of tomorrow will be built by us, okay, individually, with a certain proximity, locally and so on, not necessarily upstream from government and so on. So it's fascinating and exciting, because it means that we are invited to create that, okay? So, and honestly, we can, because this is in practice abundance. The fact to have, this is what I call gray matter. Gray matter is the brain, right? And it's different from the black gold, petrol. Okay, we know that we won't have anymore in half century and so on. So we need to find new resources. Okay, so, and how to find them? Okay, free energy and so on, all this. But that's why it's fascinating, because concretely, as Einstein said, you cannot solve the problem with the same state of mind which created them. What does it mean? We need to think out of the box. We will have to think out of the box. So literally, creativity is touching all types of jobs, and even at the personal dimension, all types of jobs. A scientist finding new, the future breakthrough, future novelty and so on to improve, let's say, life in general. A scientist, a doctor to find a new way to, stimulate DNA and so on, all this kind of thing. A teacher, the new way of being creative or stimulating the new neuroscience and so on, all this. And also it can be crossed it can be combining, okay, a scientist with neuroscientists, okay, so within science, okay, so physicists with maybe, I don't know, another neuroscience and so on, combining, okay, because so far our modern world is really dualist. What does it mean? You are this or this, A, B, and so on. You prefer your mother or your father. I exaggerate, but it's almost that. Do you prefer to inhale or exhale? Breath in, breath out. This is ridiculous. Can I be a counter and in parallel an artist? Can be a banker and in parallel, I don't know, a soccer player and so on. This is important for us to have a holistic dimension in that sense, to open up our mind and our perspective, field of consciousness. So the new world, the new era is not will come from the sky and so on. It's up to us from the 3D to the 4D and to the 5D. What is it concretely? It is be the change that you want to see in the world. So we can wait, okay, a candle, and okay, the government, please give us and so on some ideas. No. Let's try to do it. And that's why reinventing, and also it is for your job, it is also for your couple, reinventing your couple after 20 years, 30 years, putting a little bit of salt, of fizzy dimension in your couple, inviting, I don't know, organizing, I don't know, some dinner, even for sexuality, costume, scenery, and so on. Be creative and just, it will create something, a new dynamic, a new energy, and we are missing that. We are literally missing that. You watch the news, whatever the country, you want to society, you see the horrible word, and this is worse, and it's so worse, and this is not the reality. It's just we highlight the darkness all the time, and we don't show what's positive, and so on. So when you just focus on that, you just say, boom, you're dull, okay? So this is also for that. It is to revise, to rethink, to stimulate our world, the world 2.0 of tomorrow that we want to design, we want to establish, and so on. And in parallel, just to stimulate our individual life, just to inject some colors and into sometimes a black and white life, okay? So this is really that, is to be more happy, to improve our life, to solve some problems, individual, in our work, in our personal life, at worldwide scale, at national scale, wide, and so on, whatever. But this is to improve our life. Creativity is a kind of springboard for that. As I told you, there is no limits. It's limitless, okay? It's not squared. There is no border in a certain extent to creativity. There will be always something else, always something more, and this is super exciting in a certain extent. Regarding the techniques, there is several ones, but once again, in the book, I invite you to read, it's 120, okay? If you do the 120 techniques and exercise, even if you just do 25% of them, your life radically will change, okay? So I give you some of them like this. The first one is referring to what we saw, because the goal also is to do some links, interconnection, transdisciplinarity, and to show that all what we are doing as a link, okay, a common thread. But the key, 28, the inner child. The inner child, we saw 10 different keys. It stimulates that, their creativity, okay, because it's all, the kids are, the inner child is marveling at life and is really curious about a new phenomena and so on. And someone who is creative is someone who is making links with different parameters. He has a holistic vision, in the sense that, for instance, he will make a link in between the organization of, I don't know, ants and the society, for instance, or organic micro management, for instance. Is the same principle. So you can take a kind of inspiration from all what you observe. Okay, when we see that nowadays the management is more oriented, inspired by the ecosystem, knowing that our technology, the fact that it's like a watch, every component has a reason for being, is the same principle. Okay, so you can be inspired by anything. Okay, Da Vinci said that it was by observing nature and in general life that he could have some source of inspiration. Okay, so this is important to to watch this video 28 regarding inner child. Second techniques is to be inspired and penetrated by the ideas. So the principle is just to let it go, okay? You let it go, you empty your mind, and you just try to soak, to infuse an element, a topic, can be abstract and so on, okay? Without any preconceived idea, okay? You just try to do, I give you some example, for instance, but you will do the tests through with 4 levels. So you will do the test per each concept 4 times with associating a word first, secondly a picture, third a memory, which is yours, belonging to mankind, belonging to your family or your relative, but not your personal one, and fourth your feelings, okay, some feelings, okay. So a topic, rainbow, for instance, you take the word rainbow and you try to associate some words, okay, rainbow, I don't know, colors and so on. Then you associate, you do the test again, you associate some images, okay, some images. Thirdly, you associate some memories, okay, oh, I remember when I was a kid, I was 4 years old and we saw and so on, I was double, whatever. Fourth, or I watch a movie and I remember in the movie there was like a heart and so on, whatever. And fourth, a feeling towards this. The more you will do this, so it can be with that, so you can do with water, you can do that with a tree, you can do that with the sky, you can do that with, I don't know, electronic device, whatever, okay? But the more you do that, the more you rediscover that actually the 4 elements are, let's say, like a block, okay, like a wall, okay, the feeling, the picture and so on. Why? Because creativity, you don't separate. It's like, we will see a special chapter, a special key, the next one, by the way, the 39, which is intuition. Intuition is like, you receive it, okay, like, wow, when you wowing a landscape, an event, a situation, and you're just literally, wow. You're not thinking, oh, I'm wowing, you know, like when you make love with someone, you're not, let's say, analyzing, you just are, you are literally, you are absorbed by this moment, this present moment, which is literally a gift. Okay, so this is important to figure out this point that the 4 elements are combined. Okay, so when you have a flash of intuition and creativity, usually is not, is not separated. Okay, so I invite you to do these techniques. Then another one, the third one, which is quite known, brainstorming. Brainstorming, what does it mean? Literally, the storm of the brain, okay? So you can do it personally and with a team. Normally, it's systematically with a team, okay? So the principle is simple. It's just the fact to take a theme, a topic, and people, it should be spontaneous. Okay, you should not be 100 people, of course. A minimum of 2 people, of course, but usually 3, 4, 5, maximum 10 people. Okay, and people can express freely. Okay, without any censure, without any, let's say, preconceived idea, any judgment, and so on. It should be spontaneous. Okay, sometimes we say bullshit, and it's really good. We don't care. We don't judge. Okay, and what's the principle? Is the spontaneity and the fact, the synergy. Okay, concretely, 1 + 1 = 3. What does it mean? It means positive synergy, because it exists also negative synergy. For example, when you don't feel well in a couple or a company and so on. But in that case, what is it? Is the fact that if you are 4 people, someone has an idea. By proposing this idea, someone else will bounce on it, and the second person will allow the third person to bounce to another perspective and to enlarge the perspective. So if you do the tests, I invite you, so you can do it also alone with yourself and just you open up your mind and so on. But I invite you to do the test of a brainstorming alone first, and you separate. You have a theme, and the 4 people are doing individually with a piece of paper. And then you do the same things all together, and you will see the difference. You will analyze the fruits of the collective brainstorming and the sum of the individual sheets done individually. Okay, what does it mean? It means that you can be sure that normally, if it's well done, if it's a positive synergy, normally you will have more ideas and richer ideas with the group than individually. Okay, so important to do it. Okay, but you can also practice. Personally, I do brainstorming with myself very regularly. So I invite you to do 3 tests. Okay, with a group, for example, the theme can be health. Okay, in general. Okay, and picture, words, and so on, evoking. I mean, what evokes this word? Okay, health. Second test, you can do it with the theme of innovation. And the goal is to give a name to a company, for instance, or association. Okay, an association who wants to propose some innovation. Okay, for free or whatever. Okay, so try to find a name for that. Brainstorm. And third theme could be the logo. Okay, so the picture, the logo of association or company of fun, okay, of fun or nature, okay, or can be let's say amusement plus nature. I don't know, but try to separate or mix whatever. But okay, it can be 2 different ones. Okay, so try to do it. Another technique is the mind mapping. Mind mapping, concretely, what is it? It is the fact to organize your ideas, okay, and to try to visualize. So concretely, you just cut some A4 paper and you cut 4, 6, whatever, and literally you take different ones and you write one word, keyword, an ID per piece of paper, and then you put on a table, or if you have too many, on the floor. And then you try to do assembling. Okay, so I reorganize. Okay, this ID should go there. Okay, this ID should go there. And then you're gonna establish some chapters, some groups, some subsets, and so on. And this is a way to structure your mind and to do some association. Okay, and you're gonna reorganize to start to create a certain kind of framework, syllabus, whatever the project. Okay, or project, or idea, or concept, and so on. The mind mapping, and there is many ways. I use many of them regularly, every day almost. Holisticking. What does it mean? So, holistic. Okay, holisticking. Concretely, this is a new concept I baptized like this, with the notion of holistic dimension. Holos in Greek means global, overall, and so on. So basically, it's to have the big picture of a theme regarding different ideas, but with a notion of 2 things: synthesis plus common thread. So synthesis, the funnel method. Okay, the funnel. You know what is a funnel? Normally, it's like this, but it's a double funnel. Okay, you start from the overall view, and with different criteria, you will, let's say, focus more. Okay, from the global one to different criteria. You type on, I don't know, Google, one keyword plus a second one. You focus, of course. Okay, if you take the example of, I don't know, religion. Okay, this is the large spectrum. Okay, if you say monotheism, half of them. Okay, so it's already like this. Then monotheism, then I don't know, Christianity, and then Protestantism, and then Lutheranism, and so on. And you have systematically the scope which is reduced. And then you can enlarge the perspective in the other direction, that you say about religion is a part of the global one would be could be spirituality, for which you have religion, then you have let's say esotericism, and then you have paganism, and so on and so forth. Okay, so all this would be spirituality. So you can enlarge. This is like a fine tuning. Okay, so this is the notion in Greek philosophy: thesis, okay, antithesis, and synthesis. Okay, I mean, advantages, drawbacks, and then you combine, okay, and you do an opening, okay. But this is really duality. But in this perspective, there is much more than this. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 elements, okay. It's not duality anymore. So it's a larger perspective for which we're gonna split up, okay, with this notion, okay. So this is the technique is like this. Okay, and then the objective is also to establish a common thread. A common thread. There is a common thread in the structure of this teaching. Okay, since the beginning. Okay, till the end, if there is an end. But concretely, there is a logic from the beginning till now, for instance. Okay, and I anticipate that it's not random. Okay, this key will bounce on the next one with intuition, which is also linked like a rainbow with enlarging perception. Okay, and so on. All right, what we saw first, the first 20 keys were more theory. And now, I mean, the second season, in a certain extent, is more practice, and so on. Okay, so there is a common thread. In all story, book, whatever, there is systematically a common thread, a link between the events, the elements. They are not fragmented, they are not separated, they are not independent. And it's the same with our life. Our life, there is an interesting, subtle common thread that we are invited to decipher. What does it mean? I give you a basic example. I'm working initially in textile, okay, and there is a common thread in my life. And everything has been organized regarding that. And I did many, many metaphors with the common thread, with the canvas of the universe and so on. And even I was walking for 20 years on the Silk Roads, on the Silk Roads, finding myself and so on, which is the fruits from my previous life, which is a matter of fact, it's true, this is what I discovered. I've been a trader working a lot on this from many previous lives and so on. So what I try to tell you is not exceptional, it's just something I found back. But everybody has a common thread within this life and through the other lives. And when we start to figure out that, to explore that, to discover that, life becomes completely incredible. And like this is romanticized probably, but this is also a way to activate your creativity in your daily life. Because for me, and this is what I have since I'm a kid and how I survive, because hypersensitive and so on. When I was young, teenager, and even before, I had difficulties to accept the crazy word for which Krishnamurti said, this is not a guarantee of health that to be integrated in a deeply sick society. And I was not vibrating with the injustice and so on and so forth. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of you are like this, hypersensitive, 20% of the humanity like this. And this is just, you have high potential of feeling the word, feeling the emotion of the word and so on. And you realize the quadrature of the cycle, of the system, the injustice and so on and so forth. So in a certain extent, without this notion of creativity, the fact to perceive life as a movie, as a romance and so on, was a way for me to survive in a certain extent. And it doesn't mean that you are detached from the world, and but it's just the fact that yes, it's also because if you analyze, most of people take drugs, alcohol, and so on, and also they live by procuration in the sense of thanks to Hollywood, Bollywood, whatever. But so there is your life, black and white, to resume and to exaggerate, and then you just take drugs or you take some alcohol, and when you watch movie, life is beautiful finally. So, but it's not you. So the goal is to become the co-scenarist and the co-actor, I mean the actor of your own life and not only a pure spectator, and to try to stimulate, to activate this beauty of life, and to activate something different regarding that. So, of course, sixth technique is to be an artist. What does it mean? By being an artist, you become an artist. Sounds obvious, right? But what does it mean? It means that when you do a parallel activity, like you are, I don't know, a banker, and you just do during the weekend painting, it's not beautiful aesthetically speaking, but you like it, you can be sure that you will develop your creativity even for your banking system and so on. Okay, so that's why it's important to have professional, personal, artistic dimension, also to stimulate that in general. Personally, I studied, so it can be something that you wanted to do for a long time, or something maybe you used to do when you are younger, and so on. It can be poetry, can be whatever. Okay, but for instance, I studied 2 years ago drums. Okay, shamanic drums, Sufi drums, and so on. Okay, I am good at this or not? I don't think so. I love it. Okay, when I do, I'm in trance and so on. It doesn't look like anything, right? I will never do concert. I will never do record. So I do only for me. You see, it's like I told you, I'm doing surfing here for 2 years in Bali. I'm good? No, I don't think so. I just slide a little bit, that's it. And I will never reach a certain level. I don't care. I just do without notion of performance. I just enjoy. And this is really what I try to, I mean, to convey this message of do without notion of performance, just do for fun. Try to mime an animal. Okay, so take it. So the vocation is to stimulate your totem animal. That's to say the savage dimension that we have, and also the guidance. But try to find an animal. It can be, I don't know, a pig. You see, I don't do pretty well, but and really you behave like this, okay, for a few minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and so on. So you do spontaneously. It can be a horse, a tiger, whatever you want, whatever you like, and then you film yourself. Okay, you will look like a bit ridiculous. I mean, we don't care. It's just for fun and also for a certain schema of empathy. Okay, animal. Then do it for an artist that you appreciate or not. Okay, then do it also for a politician. Okay, imitate. Okay, imitate. Just try to pretend to be this person with the way of doing. I don't know. So just for fun, but it's actually activating your artistic dimension and also the empathy. I invite you to do it. Then, referring to the key 17. Let's say enlarging your perspective and consciousness is really to stimulate your creativity, the trance and dance, the ecstatic dance. It will stimulate your energy, your flow of the body, and so on. And this definitely, it will brings you a certain types of grass, grace, grass. The notion like it will stimulate new dimension through your speech, your way of talking, and so on. And in general, it's a huge, huge springboard for creativity. So I will not repeat it. I invite you to watch the previous videos. The key 37 to see the ins, the outs, and the advantages, and how to do also the principle. 9, to create some stories, okay, like once upon a time, and you do it orally, spontaneously. I give you some words, and you have to create from scratch, okay? So, for instance, I give you 3 series. The first one is seed, tree, child, sage, like wise man, magic, okay? So you have to create a story. Second test, superhero, devil, princess, castle, dragon. Okay, and last one, baby, cycle, generation, sky, and death. Okay, so once upon a time, just for kind of remember, it starts with the beginning, routine, an evolution, bouncing, and so on, twists, and so on, so far, and to finish on the conclusion, happy end or not, opening, and so on. Okay, so but try to do it at the beginning. Maybe it won't. I mean, it won't make some sense. Doesn't matter. Okay, when I do the test with my student here, the beginning is a bit ridiculous, and then I stop, they sleep. I mean, we do a break, and then they take it back. Second version is better, improved. Third version, and then at the end, it looks like something. Okay, it's not a credible story, but at least, and the more you do that, and the more it stimulates, okay, your creativity, and also your capacity to do improvisation. Then I invite you to do some simulation, okay, like piece of theater, orally, alone or with someone, with a certain scenario that you define. It can be for, I don't know, a scene you want to talk to your boss or your colleague and so on. You're a little bit scared. You prepare yourself, and you're literally in this the scene as an actor, okay, and you feel the emotions and so on. It can be, I don't know, a breakout. Really? You want to leave me? It can be a drama. You want to leave me? I don't know. I exaggerate, of course, but can be also very positive things, like I don't know, your team won the championship. Yes, yes. When you do that, honestly, it's like the therapy by laughing. The beginning is fake, but after a while you activate. It's a true. I mean, it's a true laugh. And the same when you're stimulating like this. Yeah, yeah. It's like by being an actor of happiness, you will become a kind of happy person. So it's a little bit also to work on the system of empathy, the fact to be integrated in the emotion of someone and so on, and the fact also basically to be better, I mean, to be more self-confident, to be, let's say, better in terms of communication, charismatic people, and so on and so forth. So it's good. It's like if you're shy, if you have, I don't know, a talk and so on, repeat, do it in front of your mirror, or just take a video like this. Spontaneously, you will be more at ease, and you will feel more comfortable, and so on, for you, better communication, and so on and so forth. So, lucky draw. I invite you to refer, of course, to the book I indicate you. So the lucky draw, I use the notion of mandala, and also flower of life. Mandala means the wheel. So concretely, it's kind of meditation, operational meditation, in the sense of you draw. Cycle, and then you personalize it. Okay, there is a structure that I explain, a method, different methods, and actually you do it lasting 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours if you want. And actually it's supposed to take a picture of your mind or your wish of what you want and so on, establishing some symmetries, some different elements, precise or not. And it's a kind of resonance. It's supposed to, let's say, to stimulate a kind of energy within your body, and also it is the restitution of your state of mind and so on. Or you start from scratch and you say, okay, I'm going to design like this and so on, because I want every time I meditate on it and adjust, I will feel the good energy. Okay, so anyway, I explain really the principle, but this is a good tool, honestly. So it is traditional, is religious initially, it's more from Buddhism and Hinduism, but it can be just done like art in general. And it doesn't need to be a great artist. Personally, I told you, I cannot draw properly, but I can do beautiful mandalas. I mean, I consider they are beautiful. They're probably not so amazing, but I like them, okay? I mean, at the moment, it's just a picture of my mind and so on. And so this is important, notion of spontaneity. Second one is the flower of life. And I indicate more in the book why it's so important, the flower of life, why I draw every single morning, because it's activating within me a kind of energy of, because the real, flower of life that I consider is a kind of Taurus. So I do also meditation with the flower of life, and actually it's a way to be connected to the entire world with the notion of holotropic fractal dimension, which is quite complex to understand. I do agree, but just for you to understand, but just the fact to with just a compass, just you just draw and it activates something, your DNA and so on, your mind, and then if we believe, of course, okay. If you don't believe, forget about that. Okay, but anyway, try a little bit the mandala, the flower of life, and so on. I explain how to draw, and then you will see the results. Then I invite you to draw, to create the book of your dreams. Job of your dream, the ideal job. Okay, it can be completely like fantasy, completely impossible. Okay, like a probe to another space-time, or serious and so on, whatever it can be. Okay, first, incredible stuff. And then more rational one, okay, which doesn't exist necessarily, but it could be, okay? So just do this exercise. And once again, in 2030, 70% of the jobs don't exist yet. What does it mean? We have to create them. I gave in the book 10 of them. The first one, I just give one, just as an example, is IDR. IDR, what does it mean? Is a neologism. What does it mean? I created the name is ID, like to get an ID, doer, creator, and so on, creator of an ID. Okay, so a guy who is making IDs. So it was something when I was young, I was saying, oh, when I will be older, I will be IDR. Okay, in French, of course. And the grown-ups, they were saying, but it doesn't exist. And I was saying, but come on, it doesn't exist. This is the first step of my job, is to create it, okay? So I have the idea of create it, okay? So it was kind of fun. And to be frank, the principle was just to have ideas and to give to people or to sell and so on. But concretely, in a certain extent, regarding my experience in my different scope on my different jobs, occupation and so on, this is what I am now. So I didn't ask the permission. Does it exist? There is a label, there is a diploma for that. I am that. Okay, so this is really important because this is the inner child of maybe 6, 7 years old express himself through me now as an adult and combine different polarities of what I am in the absolute. That's to say the inner child now and potentially the kind of detachment of exponential that you never touch, that to say the wisdom. I'm not saying that I'm wise, not at all. I'm just saying I'm just try my best to flirt with this exponential. This is the concept I already explained with the child-adult presage is a process of trying to have the inner child plus the adult, the structure, the creativity, or the, let's say, the capacity to marvel at life and to aspire to a kind of wisdom that you never touch, because I say presage, it's in progress, because nobody never say I'm wise, otherwise you are not humble anymore to say that. So, but anyway, just to try to show you that I invite you to do this this exercise, and another exercise of to draw, okay, to draw your own ideal society, utopia. This is what I did in the book for free, accessible as well on my website, Sage Passage, Utopia. Okay, utopia, utopia within you. So, and it has been a very interesting exercise. I spent almost 15 years by crossing the world, visiting factories to understand the principle of this society and so on in many countries. I visited almost 70 countries in my life, for personal and professional. And actually, I did that job. I mean, I did this exercise to establish like a new constitution, ministry, and so on. How could be organized? So, is of course a fiction. It's just like a utopia. It's just a book. But the fact, the action. I mean, the approach to try to think about that, to establish it, it has been really, really enriching for me. And I invite you to do it. Okay, you know, it's the basic of what I explain. As we say in French, art, criticizing is easy, art is difficult. So what does it mean? It means, okay, you complain, complain, complain. Okay, what's your ideas? Okay, and this is important because as I explained in the coaching part, the key coaching, as Seneca said, there is no favorable wind for those who don't know where they go. So if you just take your boats and you just go, or you kick in the ball and you don't know that the real or your expectation is to kick and to score in the goal, it's useless. Okay, so this is important to handle this approach to establish what you would like for your personal life and in general the ideal society, because it will allows you to be more able to be credible in a certain extent, to criticize more, or if you want to establish some proactive dimension. Okay, let's say a curative, preventive dimension in the philosophy of Gandhi. Be the change that you want to see in the world. This is my philosophy. I'm not waiting for someone from the sky coming from the government upstream and so on. No, I try my best at my local scale, and then at the end of my day, okay, my journey, let's say, within this life, I will feel, or I will feel, let's say, satisfied because I will have tried my best. Okay, so far, if I'm dying tomorrow, I feel satisfied because I did not do perfectly, of course, but I try my best, and this is one thing that you can feel definitely more comfortable and in peace with the life, the world, the living. No need to rest in peace. Okay, you can live in peace as well, and this is really, really important exercise. Okay, some advice. Have fun regarding creativity. As Einstein say, creativity is smartness, having fun. This is so important, to have fun of life, marveling at life. Life is an entire, an incredible playground. It's the inner child, and this is just that, the creativity, to have fun of creativity. A state of mind. The state of mind is a kind of is very important. The state of mind and the discipline regarding creativity is the fact, yes, I change, I parameter differently, I reparameter my mind, saying now I'm going to be creative. Okay, so you launch the process of creativity already with that. The state of mind is also the fact to be curious, to be open-minded. Okay, not to say I don't like this, I don't like this discipline. No, try to do it. Oh, I don't like classical music. Try to go for a concert, for instance. You will see. Maybe you will discover new things, new perspective of yourself, and so on. Not to be completely blocked in a certain preconceived idea. And we have all, of course. Another point is also not to look for the performance, but to be more spontaneous, regardless the result and so on. This is important also. To be more spontaneous. This is really the point. Then to be reconnected, okay, within yourself, with yourself, with other people, with the living in general, with other people, with nature, with the invisible world. And actually, this is through meditation, mindfulness, with also when you are alone, because I say it's also important. You will have creativity through that, so it's operational tools that we saw previously will activate mindfulness and meditation will allow you to be more creative. Then I invite you to have a kind of strategy for all types of creativity process, like methodology, different steps, framework. There is techniques that I reveal in the book I'm talking. The name is Recreation, by the way, and so a structure, an approach, methodology, techniques, and so on. Okay, and also, of course, a kind of timeline. that's to say, no need to precise that nobody's writing a book within few hours. Okay, you write a bit, some ideas, you write a bit, you type and so on, then you take it back the day after, a few days later, after going for a drink with friends, just to refresh your mind by watching, I don't know, sport, going to do sports. Okay, this is important also to manage yourself regarding that. Okay, so just to have a certain strategy to spread over the time, and also to have a deadline, because most of creative people, it can be endless. I told you already in a previous key, Da Vinci, Mona Lisa, he did it within 20 years when he passed away. So he would have lived maybe 10 more years. He would have spent 30 years. And probably after 6 months, he was excellent already. So it is important to say, okay, I stick to this deadline. Personally, when I write a book, systematically, I say, okay, I want to finish at this time. Most of the time, 99%, I finish at this time. Okay, and all my books, I could add something more, I could revise and so on, always to improve. But then I decide to take a picture and to say, stop, finish. We don't change anything anymore, except a spelling mistake if I see later. Okay, but this is important to have this rigorousness regarding that, to be rigorous regarding a kind of strategy and approach with a framework. Then it's important also to know yourself, know thyself, and you will know the secret of the gods and the universe. Is the fact actually to know your moments. Okay, it's personal. Personally, mine, I'm more creative the morning. When I wake up, 4 o'clock in the morning, very creative. Okay, on night, not at all. I mean, evening and night, I'm not at all. When I dream, yes, I'm very creative. Or, for instance, it can happen with many flash during the day, and most of the time is in nature and so on, when I'm not doing something, when I really empty my mind. Okay, so I have some period of that I call creative ovulation. Is when I do, for example, fasting for 72 hours, and I start to eat back after. Is limitless, like the movie. Honestly, I have connection in my mind everywhere. I'm very, like, it's really fascinating, and it's quite of intensive. Okay, when I'm like this, hopefully it doesn't last so long, because it's quite challenging. You need to write a lot. I mean, personally, and I have ideas everywhere and so on. So I need really to channel this and to to refrain sometimes as well. But what I tried also to tell you is, creativity, you have to manage yourself, because this is also like the tide. Okay, it comes, it's back and forth. Sometimes you don't have. Sometimes I'm on a book, and for a period of time, 1 week and so on, I have no inspiration. It's happened to everybody. Okay, it's not, and I mean, it's not a finality. It will be not last forever. It will. It's like after the rain, the beautiful weather is coming back. So it's the same. Okay, so try to keep positive, in the sense that it's good also sometimes not to have so much creativity. You can take it easy. You can just apply far niente, as we say in Italian. It means the art of not doing anything, just observing, like opening the inner temple, contemplate. It's good sometimes. Okay, important as well to create an atmosphere. Okay, personally, the morning, 4 o'clock, of course, I'm alone, everybody is sleeping, it's dark, but my candles, my incense, I do a meditation first and so on. I really love it. I put my music and so on. I'm really in my atmosphere, it's my moments and so on. So it's important. It can be on night for you, if you are more from 11 o'clock till, I don't know, 4 o'clock in the morning. It's really up to you. Only you knows that. Some people, they are very creative through the let's say the dynamism of they go to I don't know, a cafe and so on, and they see people, there is animation and so on, and the movement make them, I mean, activate the creativity. So it's not necessarily nature, calmness, music, whatever. It's completely personal. So, but try to know yourself through that. And last advice is the fact to share with people. This is my philosophy. The more you give, the more you receive. Don't necessarily don't lock every creativity. It doesn't belong you. You just download it, I told you. And but the more you give, the more you receive, is also in the sense that if you're afraid of missing, is the abundance. Okay, you're afraid to miss money, miss creativity, and so on. You send a message to the universe of fear, and you credit the scarcity, the rarity. Okay, and it's the same for creativity. The more you give, okay, some people copy me. I don't care. I'm proud. Oh, I'm copied. So it means that apparently my ideas are not too bad. You see, and also sharing is also another point. Is the fact to, for example, to share with people, for example, friends, relatives. Okay, if they are motivating. Okay, it can be you just when you do that, once you have a certain framework, you advance on your project. But for example, sharing that, and it's like it's not fundraising, it's more motivation raising. You talk to people that are very most of the time they are enthusiastic. Okay, so oh, great idea and so on. Ah, it's good and so on. Like this, whew, you feel better. You see, then you can also have some let's say in between people that you say they are positive, but they are so constructive. They have they are critical, but also constructive. Like, what about that? So, did you think about that or this? And then it will challenge your project. And yes, true. I didn't think about that. Okay, I note it and so on. Or and what about that? And then they enlarge your perspective and so on. So they make you, evolving, and you enrich your project and your ideas and so on. So on. Can be for a book, can be for anything. Okay. For the skeptic, okay, so those who are always skeptical, squeeze them, or just at the end, just as a crash test when you are really sure about your ideas and you're really motivated, just to see. Otherwise, if it's too much at the beginning and you're not too confident, they're gonna break your dreams. So avoid them. And actually, this is really important to share, because I told you I definitely think, but it's true for everything. Together we're stronger. And if we want to establish a new paradigm, a new era, we are all invited to do this inner gazing, and also this inner work, and also the work of reconnection with other people as well. All right, this is one key among a lots for you to shape your own master key, to open up the doors of consciousness that you want and you desire. And as you know, all the roads lead to Rome and to Rome. Thank you for your attention, and see you very soon.